Hey guys, MoiDawg here, and I'm happy to announce that I played Squad 44 with 100 players, and it was awesome. If you missed it, Friday, August 9th was an official 100-player server test for Squad 44, and although I've been absolutely loving the game, even with the 80-player servers, the additional 20 players made this World War II game feel even more like you're in a real, massive World War II battle. Now, if you're one of the Postscriptum OGs, you might actually remember that this game was originally marketed as being able to, quote-unquote, experience a full-scale battlefield with 100-player servers, 50-plus usable vehicles, squad roles, supply runs, and base building. This quote is actually from the Internet Archive on the Wayback Machine from March 2018. Back then, a few months before release, the devs were actually pushing for 100-player servers and promoting the game as such. Even by release day on August 9th, 2018, the website was still suggesting the game was 100 players when it wasn't. The game released with 80-player servers, and as we can tell, 100-player servers obviously didn't happen. Unfortunately, even the 80-player servers back then on release still had horrible optimization problems, and that stuff wouldn't get fixed for quite a while. Even 3 to 4 years later, the dev team at Periscope Games still couldn't solve the issue, and in 2021, the previous community manager, Snazzy Duckling, posted on the Steam forums question that due to the game being run on an older version of OWI Core, it's actually far more difficult for Postscriptum to achieve 100 players. To quote Snazzy Duckling, Postscriptum does not update the OWI core when Squad has a major new update. Our OWI core version is close to 2 years old, and it takes a long time to integrate all the changes they make to the OWI core with our own game. Going forward, we know we will need to update the engine to a newer version, but it is unclear if we will update the OWI core as well due to the time it takes. Once again, this was said way back in 2021. A year later in 2022, and Postscriptum was actually testing 100 players, but nothing really came out of those tests. To put this into perspective, Squad has had 100 players since the full 1.0 release back in 2020. Both these games have OWI core as the engine, but yeah, Periscope Games, for whatever reason, just didn't have the technical know-how, the resources, the proper management, whatever it was. They just couldn't make 100-player servers happen. Now, less than 1 year after OWI has purchased the rights to the game and have handed it off to the dev team in Mercury Arts, well, look at that. Squad 44 is actually about to finally deliver on the 100-player promise. It might have taken 6 years, but whatever. I'm absolutely trusting the dev team right now, and let me tell you, this 100-player test was good. I was able to play a few rounds during this playtest, both in a tank and as infantry, and I really didn't notice any huge performance hits at all. However, I do want to say that I was actually running DLSS. If you're not familiar with what DLSS is, it's essentially NVIDIA's way to use AI to digitally upscale a game to make it look like it's running at a better frame rate than it's actually running. To my knowledge, I don't believe this works if you have like too low FPS. Like, it won't make a 20 or 30 FPS game look like 60 FPS, but I have had good experience with it if I dip into the high 40s or 50s when I max my settings out to epic. I run an RTX 4080 card and take full advantage of the tools NVIDIA gives me to make the games I play look good. So technically the game did give me sub 60 FPS during the 100-player server testing, but I'm going to be completely honest with you. I would not have known this if I didn't have the FPS indicator on. As you can see, my settings were maxed. If you have a similar card or maybe even a 3K series, you could probably run this at a medium settings without DLSS and have no issues at all. When I compare my gameplay from the 100-player test with the 80-player live games, I actually don't see any difference in quality at all. I don't see any difference in performance, and my FPS is actually just about the same. Furthermore, I believe the devs also stated that the server performance itself didn't have any issues at all, meaning that both the backend server admin experience and the front-end player experience were both positive. To put this another way, Squad 44 had no noticeable performance or optimization problems going from 80 players to 100 players, so the average person will most likely not have any problems. Now, with the big question mark of optimization out of the way, let's talk about the actual gameplay. First off, adding 10 players to a side is huge. Going from 40 players to 50 players on your team opens the door for more squads, more squad leaders, more varied infantry kits, and as I experienced personally, more chances to get absolutely obliterated. This isn't necessarily a bad thing though. As an infantry player, I thought this was insanely fun. When you have 100-player servers, that's a 25% increase in your players on that server, and the actual firefights felt a lot more chaotic in a very, very good way. We played the new frontline game mode on Hagenau, Dinan, and Karantan, and by focusing all the players in one singular play area to either attack or defend objectives, to find intel, to clear barricades, whatever we had to do, the rounds felt like large-scale battles with more dynamic missions you have to accomplish throughout. It was really fun, and firefights were extremely active, and the typical one-squad flank, which might normally win you the match or at least push the objective in a normal game, well, they were not nearly as effective. There were a lot more friendly players around to help fight off a sneaky push or tank, and seeing your front progress was very rewarding. Areas that I would typically find success on a map like Karantan, maybe flanking around that Flak 88 pit or going around the town, I'd actually run into an enemy squad, while the other side of Karantan, an enemy squad would be fighting our friendly squad. This was cool because now all squads were engaged almost all of the time. The combination of 100 players, front lines, and the map designs that have been in game for a while now made for an incredibly fun gaming experience. And I truly think this type of gameplay is what people imagine when they see clips or videos on this game and then hop in to try it for themselves. Now, I did have one huge problem, and if you're an infantry player, you probably would have missed this completely, but as a tank player, I did get kind of frustrated. Tanks in Squad 44 are a limited resource, meaning that if you lose one, it's actually gone permanently. There's no respawn timer for it. You simply erase that tank from the deck and you have to select something else. If you get main camp, spawn camped while repairing, you get killed absolutely fairly in a tank battle, or you get infantry ambushed, whatever it is, it's not actually uncommon to see your team lacking good armor about halfway through the round, since players will more often than not get the tanks killed and they have to spawn in something worse. Or like this round that I played a while ago, sometimes you get smoked and you have no armor left. That's just the nature of the game. However, infantry players in Squad 44 do not have limited resources. Players respawn with full ammo every single time they die, and this includes high explosives like mortars, Panzerschrecks, bazooka rounds, mines, and satchel charges. In this round on Karantan, I actually spawned in, heard a tank, chased it down, knocked out its turret ring, got killed, respawned with full bazooka ammo, chased it down again, destroyed its engine, got killed, respawned with full bazooka ammo, chased it down again, and then found its repair station where I continued to harass it and let other AT players and sappers know where to go to. I may have died a few times, but since I kept having full ammo every time I respawned, it was worth it, as I was able to actually solo push this tank away from the frontline objective for 10 plus minutes. When you add 20 more players to the game, that means there's an increase in anti-tank and high explosive kits, and now more players are roaming around that can freely harass and kill tanks with little to no downside. Trading 1 or 2 tickets to get something like a Panther out of the game, or maybe a Jumbo Sherman, is a huge win. If my team doesn't have to go up against a Pershing anymore, I will gladly spend a few tickets, and honestly, the tank crew can do nothing about it. From the tanker side during this playtest, we actually got one-shot killed by a Panzerschreck shot on Hagenau in our Sherman. The round went straight into the ammo rack, started the fire, and we had to bail. And first off, I want to say this, being one-shot in a tank is perfectly fine. I actually think one-shotting tanks is a great mechanic, and it really rewards players' skill in knowing where to hit that tank. This is skill, this is teamwork, this is communication, and this is a gameplay mechanic that should be promoted. However, since these players get full ammo every time they respawn, it actually just turns into a really annoying experience to be a tanker. In the playtest, most of the time, we would actually just get harassed by solo infantry running up to us and trying to throw explosive on us or hitting us with their AT. It felt a lot worse in a regular game because there was simply more infantry and their explosives to worry about when you have 100 players. To do a quick comparison, in Squad, which also has 100 players, you have persistent ammo. So if you do fire a rocket, you actually need to then go rearm that rocket. And if a fob doesn't have any ammo, then you simply can't use your anti-tank weapon until someone does a Logi run and supplies you. This not only encourages players to do Logi runs, but it rewards players who actually hit their shots, it punishes players who waste their ammo, and it also rewards teams that can circle off and cut off enemy logistics. This also makes the enemy much easier to kill the longer they go without resupply. Now, I'm not suggesting Squad 44 go the whole ammo supply route that Squad has, and I actually do think it's really cool to get full ammo, bandages, and all that stuff when you're a machine gunner, rifleman, medic, all your regular kits. I think the game benefits having that ammo respawn all of the time. But I do think high explosive weapons like anti-tank rounds, mines, satchels, and other explosives, as well as rifleman ammo bags, should actually require supply to be rearmed. You might not know this since you rarely need it, but you can actually build ammo crates on fobs, and certain weapons like fob mortars need supply to fire. So The system is actually already built into the game. The devs just need to implement it for explosives. What I fear is that as cool as 100-player servers are, armor players will eventually stop playing. Now, I'm already seeing fatigue and burnout from the players I normally run armor with, since a lot of the time we're in game, we actually drive 10 to 15 minutes, not really do anything, and then we get ambushed by 1 or 2 anti-tank players that we kill, and they respawn, and they try to kill us again, and then we respawn, and we have a fire, we put out the fire, we get tracked. You get the idea. We're actually not fighting tanks a lot of the time. We're fighting 1 or 2 players and their never-ending supply of rockets. It's already frustrating to lose a tank for a game that can last upwards of 1.5 to 2 hours because the other team literally never runs out of rockets, but it's even worse when you make it 50 players aside. That's just a lot more anti-tank coming at you, and you really feel it. So yeah, as infantry, I absolutely love the 100-player servers, but as a tanker, I could actually see myself playing less and less since the anti-tank spam is really oppressive. Now, I might be crazy in thinking this, but talking with some other players, I don't think I'm alone in feeling this, so let me know your thoughts below. But anyway, aside from the tank complaints, I thought this test was incredible, and I don't see anything stopping the devs from releasing 100-player servers now. If I'm being honest, I actually think they're going to do it soon. I just released a video about a surprise update the devs were working on, and in this upcoming update, we would be getting the new frontline game mode on all the maps and a lot of the other new changes like bouncing betties and bazooka smoke rounds. Well, in this playtest, we had the new frontline game mode on all maps, and I personally fired that bazooka smoke round, so if I was a betting man, I'd say that this next update will not just drop with all these changes, but also include 100-player servers. There's even a nice change that was snuck in that I'm not sure if many people noticed, but you can actually see nearby players as well as nearby medics when you're down 2. In the past, if a medic wasn't nearby, it just said nobody was near and you could give up, but now you actually have players within, I believe it's 50 meters, that you can actually try to talk to in local saying, hey buddy, give me some morphine, or hey medic, call him out by name and get him to get you there. This is so cool. It's way better for squad cohesion, and I really think this update is pretty much done. To see if it really was release ready, I did go around and test a bunch of other frontline maps, and aside from a bugged layer or 2, or how the Germans have to steal German intelligence from the British, everything seems pretty much finished. Not only is a frontline game mode on all the maps, but you also have certain unique qualities to the maps that make them more fun to play, like Utah Beach, where instead of 200 tickets for the attackers, you get 300 tickets, which is going to be needed as you charge the beach. Or you have a map like Milsim, where you have the normal, regular main base spawn, but you still are able to para-drop down and accomplish the objectives. And if you have been sick of drill frontline, where you're stuck on the other side of the pontoon bridge, there's now a drill frontline number 2, where your main base is already over the bridge, so that should play way better. My overall experience from the playtest is insanely positive, and I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't get this update with the 100-player servers within the next few weeks. But what do you guys think? Did you play the playtest and enjoy the chaos? Are you liking what you're hearing? Are you excited about this new frontline game mode and all these varied objectives? And do you agree that maybe we should look at some balancing of weapons now that we're going to have 25% more players playing? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more. But that's it for me. Until next time, peace.